Good evening, everyone. My name is Dipen, and I'm a registered migration agent at Oasis Group Brisbane office. So we are back again today with another live session where we'll be answering not face to face. We will be answering the live question answer from the clients, whatever the question they have regarding the Queensland State Nomination Program. So we will be conducting that Facebook live session today where you can answer all of your questions. Where you can ask your any questions. So today I got Mr. Sohag, who is also a registered migration agent with us in Brisbane office. Welcome, Sohag, and thank you for your time. So before we start, we would like to give you an overview about the migration program for this financial year. As you are aware that Queensland State has recently announced their program yesterday. It was a long-awaited program, like a lot of people were waiting since month of July. So what do you think, Swag? It's a big relief for them.
It's really big relief, and a lot of people were frustrated, but they have shown their patience, and now finally Queensland program is open now.
Now, that's a good news actually, because a lot of people, as Swag mentioned, they're waiting, and it was a frustrating situation for all of them. Were not clear about their pathways or anything, but the good thing is that finally the wait is over. Program has been announced. The requirement is also, I would say, is little bit easier compared to last year. So before we start the question answer, we would like to do a quick overview about the program, and also we will do some comparison between what is the previous year's requirement and what are the requirements for this financial year. So we start with the quota. So when department has released the quota for this financial year in July, Queensland was given 2,250 seats for the financial year. So from that financial year, Queensland most probably will be dividing the quota, and they will open their program periodically. But as of now, there is no particular information how they're gonna use the quota for the entire financial year. So that's something we have to wait for the strategy from the state government. Coming to the criteria. It was a little bit different criteria from the previous financial year. I would say that even for working category, the criteria will remain same, but there are some caveats applied on certain occupations. So this is one of the major changes where we have seen from the previous financial year, where there was no caveats or no such a particular things were available. But this financial year, they have mentioned this. Okay, for particular this occupation, there are some caveats applied. There are some stricter rules is there. So would you mind to sharing some information on that, Swag? So what are those caveats for this financial years?
It is especially for the accountants and the cook and chef. So those who wants to apply as an accountant or auditor, they have to be working in the accounting firm, and they must be doing a CPA foundation course, or they must have completed, or maybe they are doing it. So this they have to do show on their UI. So the Queensland government knows that you are doing.
Okay, yeah. So basically, you want to say someone who is working in the accounting firm, and they are studying towards becoming a CPA, or they have already studied CPA, those applicants will be given priority. So it does not mean that we do not want to discourage all of the other applicants that they cannot apply, because this is just a criteria. So it does not mean that applicants who are not working in accounting firm, they cannot apply. They can also apply, but it's just because of the priority will be given to the applicants who are working in those particular fields. Apart from that, we got a couple of questions. So let's start with one of the questions. This is from Shrik Kiram. So this question is asking this client that, hi, I'm having the 70 points and positive skill assessment as a management consultant. What are the chances to get the invite? Would you like to answer this question?
Yes,
Swag?
definitely. The question does not specifically ask whether he is looking for 190 or 191, but looking at it, he has 70 points, and as a management consultant, if he has been working in a regional Queensland, for the subclass 191, he will be eligible. He has to be working for at least 3 months full time and have a further 12-month job contract. And the main point is that any applicant who wants to apply, they must have to have a 7 each proficient English. That's a minimum requirement. They have brought it up this time, which wasn't there before. So 7 is mandatory, and yeah, you can apply for subclass 491, not for the 190.
That's great, and I would like to add one more point here, guys. That a few of the applicants we have been contacted yesterday. That though they have 80 points or 70 points or 65 points, with all other using the all other characteristic like for age, their experience, professional year, but some of them they do not have a 7 band each. So even if you have a 65 or above points for even for 491 subclass, but if you do not have a 7 band each, your 65 points, you cannot meet the criteria, because this is the one of the mandatory criteria, as Suhag mentioned. It's applicable to all the category except the small business owner category.
Now we have this question coming from Chanti Hari. He has a question that I am running my business from last 1 year. I'm eligible for subclass 491 SPO, but I'm a section 48 barred. What are my options? Can you
Okay, so the simple answer of this question, because this is something we have we just confirmed in this morning from BSMQ. At the moment there is nothing appear on their website, but it is confirmed that BSMQ is not going to invite section 48 barred candidate even for this financial year or until the further notification. So my advice is to the applicant that they should look for the alternative options, or also seek an advice from the migration agent so they can figure out the alternative option, what are the options available to them if they are subject to section 48 bar. Coming to the next topic, Suhag, that also this is a question which even yesterday when the program gets open, a lot of students ask. Some of them are on a student visa, so they also wanted to know whether they are eligible to apply for the state nomination program or not, because if you know that recently government has eased the restriction on the working hours for someone who is working in the critical sector area. So what do you think? Are they eligible to apply for the Queensland state nomination if they are on a student visa?
So straight answer for the student visa applicant is that no, they cannot apply. But however, there is one more exemption over there, is that students who are working in critical sector mentioned by the Department Home Affairs website. There are few areas, for example, child care or aged care. Those people, even being on student visa, if they are working full time and if they have a positive skill assessment, then they can apply for the state nomination. However, it will be picked by the case basis.
Okay, so it is possible, as Suhag mentioned, that even if you are working in a critical sector where your business is eligible for meeting the department's requirement of a critical business, and again, like if you want to check your personal case, because this is something depends on the case by case. Right. You can always contact us, or you can contact your migration agent. Obviously, they can assist you. One of the question which we got from one of this client, that from Sneha Ankur Patel, is bakeries open or not in Queensland state? So I would like to answer this question, Sneha. Yes, if the occupation for this financial year, Queensland state is not following that particular occupation list which used to be in previous years. For this financial year, they are just following the department's occupation list. So if your occupation is available on those lists, you can definitely apply for the Queensland state, as long as if you're meeting the criteria of subclass 190 or 491 by meeting the minimum requirements. So that's a straightforward answer. Any applicant, any occupation, yes, they can apply for the Queensland state.
There's one more applicant who has asked. Her name is, I don't know whether her or his, Thilini Vasana. If the master finished in October 21, means just this month, and having 35 hours per week work offer in Queensland, meeting all the requirement listed for subclass 190. So after 6 months, means mid of October, mid of 22 of the, so that means in the first 6 months of the year. So she hasn't asked fully question, but I think what she is trying to say, that can she apply after finishing her 6 months of
okay,
masters?
So first of all, Thilini, I'm not sure which sort of masters you have completed. So technically, even if you have completed your masters, but first thing first, that you must have a positive skill assessment in your nominated occupation. So if you have obtained your nominated occupation skill assessment positively, and if you're working in Queensland for minimum 6 months full time 35 hours per week, plus if you have got an additional 12 months of contract letter with 80 points, yes, you are eligible to apply for the Queensland state nomination. But obviously I would like to get more clarification on this particular study, so if you can contact us, Trinity, we are more than happy to assist you.
There's a Divyesh Patel. Is the 7 each band required for the SBO 491? What is the point requirement at the moment? Would you like to explain this?
Yes, Swag. So Divyesh, as I mentioned earlier as well, that this 7 band each requirement is made specifically applicable to the working in Queensland category and for the graduates of Queensland category. However, there is no such a requirement for the SBO category. It means if you want to apply for this SBO category in Queensland, you just required minimum 6 bandage or a competent English plus a positive skill assessment in a nominated occupation, and you can minimum requirements to apply for this SBO, the points requirement is a 65 points. So no such a requirement of having 7 band each, but if you have a 7 band each, obviously that will give you 10 extra points in your expression of interest. So yes, if you don't have, still you can apply for it. So I have one more question which I received yesterday from one of the client. So she was after for the SBO category option, and this is the question she asked me yesterday, that okay, I am not able to finding existing business for the SBO category, and she wants to start their own business. So as far as I know, that even last year their Queensland state nomination they were not accepting the startup businesses. But this time I heard that they are starting to soon this category very soon. So would you mind to share some information about the startup businesses, how they are eligible, and what are the requirements for them to be eligible for this SBO category?
So this is a new requirement, I can say, under new SBO category. People who have done the startups, they can actually apply for the SBO surplus 491. It is just the normal requirement, as like normal SBO requirement, but they have to have run the business for at least 2 years prior applying for the SBO, and the business turnover has to be at least $200,000, and business must generate the profit at least whatever, but it should not be in the negative or loss. So anyone who wants to do the startup, they can, but bear in mind that business turnover has to be $200,000 in last 12 months, and then you can apply for the startup under startup category in SBO.
Okay, so this is another good news for someone who has a business background, or if they want to start up their business. Just to give you an example, that if you are on a 485 visa struggling to find existing business to meet the criteria for SBO, obviously you can start your own business, and if you do a very good in your business, that business will be eligible to meet the eligibility criteria for the state nomination, and also you can get your 491 SBO approved from that business as well. So this is something good news for and it's a new category, as Swag mentioned, which was not earlier last year, so that's an add-on. Apart from that, we got one more question from Roja Ramani. So Roja is asking that for 190 criteria, positive skill assessment for developer programmer 80 points, is the work experience considered only in the same occupation, or any closely related ICT occupation is fine? So you want to share the answer?
Yes, closely ICT related occupation is fine, but you have to make sure that the first 4 digit of the NS code should match. That's what the department called closely ICT related occupation. So you have to make sure and go and check the requirement of the whether your duties are matching to closely related occupation of a nominated occupation.
Okay. One more question, Swag. This is from Mr. Ankur Patel. So Mr. Ankur is asking that business analyst with 65 points, regional area, but without a job in their nominated occupation. So what are the chances for them? So would you like to answer?
The basic requirement for Queensland for surplus 491 is that you must have to have 7 band each. That's the basic requirement. Second is that person has to be working minimum 3 months full time, 35 hours a week, and need to have further 12-month contract. Again, one more thing I want to highlight is that this time Queensland has introduced the new requirement that person who will be having a highest point will be selected first. It wasn't there before. So basically, I would say this is a fairer policy. Before it was, no one was predicting who will get the invitation and who will not.
Correct.
But if you have the highest point, now you can be assured that you will receive invitation at some point of time. So if you have less point, I would encourage everyone to go for try for the increase your more score by doing NATI or PT or IELTS or whatever you like, but at least try to increase your score to increase your chances of getting invited in Queensland.
So I would like to mention here, as you mentioned, that it's a fair policy, so it's becoming more transparent. So
Right.
so at least an applicant who has a less points, so they are aware about that. What are the chances of getting invitation, and also for someone who has a higher points, so they can also be assured that okay, these are the what are the time frame they're looking at for getting an invitation. So yes, it's a good sign, I would say, and also it will make a more transparent in the selection process. I would like to take one more question here, Suhag, for you. Hi, this is from Farooqal Islam. Hi dear, I am from Bangladesh. I have got an offer of a Minister of Religion position from an organization in Perth. Can I apply for that position with an online bachelor's degree? So over to you, Suhag.
I'm not sure if applicant is onshore or he's talking about from Bangladesh. He's talking about online bachelor degree. If he completes online bachelor degree from Bangladesh, it will not reward him Australian study points. If it's an online degree, if he's studying online just because of COVID and he cannot come to Australia, then he will be rewarded Australian study point. But again, requirement for the Perth, for the occupation of Minister of Religion, we have to check with the Western Australia.
So obviously, what I will suggest you in this case, like if this is today we are discussing about the Queensland state nomination, but if you have any other query regarding a particular case or any particular occupation or any particular state, you can always contact us to our office number. We are more than happy to assist you, and we can explain you the process, and we can also guide you and suggest you what are the pathways where you can apply for the permanent residency. There is one more question, Suhag, I would like to answer. Is there any this is from Mr. Digvijay. Is there a chance for an accountant general who have a 1 year of work experience in their field with 105 points for NSW 190? So Digvijay, again, like we mentioned that this session is all about the Queensland state nomination, but I would like to answer your question with NSW. Recently we have seen a few invitations from NSW state under accounting occupation with 100 or above 105 points. So to me, I would say yes, there are good chances of you to getting invitation if you are working in your nominated occupation in New South Wales. Plus, if you have 105 points, so which is a very good score, I would say. You can expect your invitation in few months of time, maybe next month as well. So best of luck for that. Yes, the chances are good for you.
I have a Kishan Patel over here. Is asking, I'm postgraduate in agriculture, working as a full-time agronomist since last 3 months. Please guide me in PR pathways. So would you like to answer his question?
Okay, so first of all, he does not mention that whether he has obtained his skill assessment or not. So what I believe is that as he has recently finished his study, so first of all, my advice would be you should obtain your skill assessment. And if you already obtain your skill assessment and if you are working for last 3 months, yes, there should not be any problem as long as if you meet the minimum criteria of the state government. One more thing I would like to mention here for the recent graduate. This is something a lot of people asked this question yesterday. Who can be considered as a recent graduate? So Queensland State has mentioned in their fact sheet and guidelines that for PhD graduates, they must have completed their qualification within last 2 years, but it was not mentioned anything about the master's degree and bachelor's degree who can be considered as a recent graduate. So we would like to confirm that we have confirmed this information from BSMQ that this criteria applies to the master's and bachelor's degree graduates as well. It means anyone who has completed their bachelor's degree, master's degree or even PhD degree within last 2 years only those candidates will be considered as a recent graduate. So this is a clear and clear information from BSM2, which you will see most probably it will be updated on their website as well. But it is confirmed that graduate must be within last 2 years of time. And one more thing I would like, sorry to interrupt, I would like to add this thing that another question which I asked yesterday from one of my client, that she was a recent graduate having a 6 GPA as per the requirement, but she was not having the work experience. So she asked me that, okay, can I apply for 491? So the technical answer of this question is no, because if you see the requirement, it is clearly mentioned, though you are a graduate, you get a concession in the work experience requirement. However, work experience is a mandatory part for the state nomination process. Previously, it was full-time work experience. Does not matter whether you are a graduate or if you are working in Queensland category, you are applying under any of this category. You must require a full-time minimum 35 hours of work experience. But this is a concession, I would say, for someone who is recently graduated, and if they find a job opportunity in a regional Queensland with minimum 20 hours per week, which I will say part-time, yes, they are eligible. And it's a good sign for the graduates because of COVID, like a lot of students are struggling to get a job at this point of time. And especially for those students, if they even secured a minimum 20 hours per week of job, that will lead you towards the state nomination pathway for them, and they can also apply for the permanent residency. So,
Dipin, I have a question for you. Every applicant has a requirement, and job experience and 7 bandage requirement is there. In what circumstances, or what if I don't need to show the job and still I can apply in Queensland state nomination? Under which category I can apply?
So see, as of now, there are only 2 pathways available where you do not require a job offer letter if you want to apply for the Queensland state nomination. First of them is if you are a recent PhD graduate. So if you have completed your PhD, 100% PhD in Queensland based institute, in that case you do not require to show a job offer letter. Only thing you need is minimum bands requirement of 80, minimum points requirement of 80, 7 band each, plus a positive skill assessment in your nominated occupation, and you can always apply for the state Queensland state nomination. The second category here, where you do not require a job offer letter, is a small business owner category. So again, these are the only 2 categories where you do not require to show any offer or any employment. You can straight away apply after meeting the minimum requirements from the state. But for all other categories, yes, you require a job offer letter in your nominated occupation, plus minimum 3 months experience for subclass 491 and minimum 6 months of experience for subclass 190.
One more thing I just want to ask question client was asking yesterday. If someone has applied for the Queensland state nomination, for example, subclass 491, and he received the invitation, but now he's not going ahead with the visa application, can I reapply for the 190?
Okay, this is an interesting question, Sohag, and very common, I would say. It is a strict and clear instruction from the Queensland state. If they are inviting you, or if they had issued an invitation to the applicant once, if they are not using that invitations to apply for the visa, there will be a 6 month of ban on the applicants. It means if you are for example, if you have invited today, but if you are not taking that invitations to apply for the visa, so next time onwards you have to wait for 6 months to be eligible to get the invitation from the state government again. So if you receive an invitation, my advice is to all of the client, do not waste that invitation, because it belongs to you, but if you are not using it, it's going to be waste. So obviously, there may be someone else who really needs those kind of invitation. Maybe they are missed with that opportunity, but if you are getting this opportunity, make sure you utilize that and do not waste the invitation.
I have a question. Palvinder is asking, hello Sohag, any chance for subclass 190 for chef in Queensland with the 80 points? If they have already applied for subclass 491 under family stream, I believe he said FS means family stream, I believe. So can he go for 190 if he has applied for the family stream 491?
So if you have applied for the 491 family stream, if you have invited and if you have lost the visa, but the visa is not granted yet, Technically, yes, you are eligible to apply for the Queensland state nomination. However, if your visa has been granted already and if you are holding subclass 491, in that circumstances you cannot apply for any other visa for next 3 years. So that includes the 190 or even 189 visa as well. So that's a case by case answer. So I would suggest Palvinder, like if you can contact us, we can definitely assist you with your inquiry in detail. There is one more question before we wrap up this session, Suhaga. I would like to ask you, and this is from Joshua. So Joshua is asking that for Queensland 190 visa, what evidences do we need to show that we will have an ongoing employment for 12 months? I am a full-time contract employee and my nominated occupation. I can only get a contract till my visa end date, which is 5.5 months from now. So that's a little bit tricky question, and Suhag, I hope you don't mind to answer this question.
Sure, definitely. So if your visa is ending and if your employer is not willing to give a further 12-month contract, so we can negotiate. This is case by case basis. We can negotiate with the Queensland government saying that this is what the employer's requirement. However, we can get the statement from employer that he is happy to do the extension of a permanent position or another 12-month contract if a client gets the nomination or visa. So this will be in most cases it will be sufficient to convince the Queensland state government that okay, there's a restriction from the employer's point of view, and that's why he cannot give the contract.
So basically, that's a case by case
Yes.
decision that BSNQ can take this one. So that's a good point. So you mentioned that though there is a strict requirement, however, if the client is a prospective, Migration Queensland may look into the case, and they can advise them whether they are eligible or not for this one. I would like to take this question, one last question from the client. From
I have a
Priti.
question over here.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay, so Russell Ahmad, he's asking, my wife is recent graduate. She has been working in aged care as an RN. It has been almost 4 months. Her GPA is over 6. Can she apply for 190? Would you like to answer?
So first of all, Russell, as we mentioned that master's and bachelor's degree graduate, if they want to use their graduates, they want to apply under the graduate stream, they can only apply for subclass 491. However, if you want to apply for 190, I would recommend you to use working in Queensland category, where if she works minimum 6 months full time, 35 hours per week, and if she has an 80 points, she can apply for state nomination through working in Queensland category for subclass 190. But for if she wants to use the graduate category, then only 491 subclass is available as of now.
One more point I would like to make over here. Queensland government this time has specifically said that they're not going to accept the virtual offices for the job offer and a working position. So anyone who is working in Queensland for the Sydney employer and the register office is in Sydney, most probably Queensland will not give invitation to those applicants.
Okay,
so I have a simple question over here. Applicant is asking, can you explain on virtual office acceptance for 190 and 491? I work in a Brisbane CBD and support the client in Queensland, but my registered payroll office is in Melbourne. So similar question. Would you like to explain the
Sorry, so can you please repeat the question? So I didn't understand exactly what the applicant is trying to say.
So applicant is saying, can you explain on a virtual office acceptance for 190 and 491? I work in a Brisbane CPD office and support the client in Queensland, but my registered office, payroll office is in Melbourne.
Okay.
So she is working for the Melbourne employer, registered office is in Melbourne,
Okay.
but they have a client in Brisbane.
Okay, so answer to this question, I would say no, because one of the requirement they have clearly mentioned that your employer must be operating the business in Queensland. So if your employer is based in Melbourne and if they are having a client here, that will not meet the eligibility requirement for you to be considered as a working in Queensland category. However, what I can suggest you, you can always check these things with the Migration Queensland whether they can accept this kind of employment or not, because for recent scenario I would say that a lot of people are working from home. They are not working for the physical like they do not go to the physical offices for their day-to-day work. So in those cases BSNQ has considered those applications for previous financial year and they have issued the invitation as well. So again, like in your case, straight away answer is no. However, I would like to encourage you, you can always check this thing with the BSMQ, Migration Queensland. Sorry, I'm repeating BSMQ again and again. But as for the Migration Queensland, you can always check with them and explain them the scenario. Okay, this is the scenario and what are the circumstances that you are working in such a such a scenario. So obviously they can assess your application and they can also advise you whether whether you meet the requirement or not. So definitely check with them, or if you want us, obviously we can assist you. You can always come to us and we can raise this question to Migration Queensland on behalf of you. So guys, I would say we had a lot of question answered and a lot of information shared. So I would like to thank you very much, Sohag, for your precious time. Sohag is one of the busiest migration agent in our office, so getting his time is very crucial. But thank you very much, Sohag, once again. And also guys, if you have any question which we miss in this Facebook live session, if you want to still ask this question, you can always ask the question in the comment box. We will try to get back to you as soon as we can. And alternatively, you can always contact us on the office. Our office number is 07322111981, or you can send us an email. Our email address is brisbane@aussies.com. Or alternatively, you can visit your nearest Aussies office for more information. So thank you very much for joining the session, guys. We will be coming with few more sessions in upcoming days with the broad and clear information from the Queensland state government and also from the different state nomination programs as well. So stay tuned with us. We will see you very soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
And good luck for those who have applied. Thank you very much.